Hey friends, it's Corey from Hey Let's Make Stuff, and in today's video I'm talking a little bit more about Cricut Venture and specifically about cardstock. I've asked people what their biggest questions are about Venture and I get two sort of categories of responses. People want to know about print then cut, so I've got a video coming out for that soon, and a whole bunch of questions about cardstock. So in this video I'm going to talk all about cutting cardstock on Cricut Venture. I'm going to tackle what tools you can use, those sorts of things, so that you can get a better idea of what you can make on the mat using your machine. If you're new to Cricut Venture, it is Cricut's newest cutting machine. It's a 24-inch cutter, so you can see a little bit of it here, but it actually extends on my desk way over there. I have a full video review of Cricut Venture, and I'll go ahead and link that in case you want to learn more about the machine before watching this video. But again, this video is just going to focus on all of these sort of cardstock projects I have here. When Cricut Venture was launched, I think most people assumed that it was mostly just a vinyl cutter, so it could cut vinyl, it could cut iron-on, things on big rolls. But it's a lot more than that. You can cut a whole bunch of materials using mats using this machine. That means you can cut a whole bunch of things beyond cardstock. You can cut vellum and acetate and their faux leather and suede and Cricut felt, craft foam, a whole bunch of other things can be cut on this machine using a mat. But let's get to cardstock. So what types of cardstock can this machine cut? And basically it cut everything I put into it. So I tried several different brands of cardstock and scrapbook paper and it cut all of them beautifully. Basil is my favorite brand of cardstock because I can get it in all of my brand colors, and it cut that beautifully. It also cut Cricut cardstock, Recollections, American Crafts, just a whole bunch of different types of papers and cardstocks. It cut them all great. Additionally, I thought I would see if it would cut poster board. So I just picked up some inexpensive poster board from my local Fred Meyer, which is a giant store we have here, and it cut it beautifully. So this is actual poster board, cute little dinosaur. I wouldn't necessarily cut super intricate designs with poster board. You could definitely do more intricate than this, but by the nature of cheap poster board, it's just gonna not hold up very well, I don't think. It has a white core so you can really see the cuts around the edge. I mean, I think this looks really great and it cut really fast and really well. But again, I wouldn't cut like super intricate cuts using this poster board. So what size cardstock can you use? Basically, the Cricut mat that you're using in this machine can go up to 24 by 28. And Cricut is making cardstock in that size. I did not find any other brands in that particular size. I did find a few other brands. I'm gonna link them in the blog post that I'm gonna link down below in the description. There are some other companies making sort of large format cardstock, but it's not quite as easy to find right now. Cricut cardstock cuts fine, but I do wish that they had a wider range of colors. So you have to buy like sampler packs, which means I'm gonna get a whole bunch of colors I'm never gonna use. So for example, I really like pinks and teals and yellows, but I'm also gonna have to deal with purple and green and orange, which are not generally in my color palette. Makes it a little more difficult to do like, a big pink ombre like backdrop or a bunch of stars and a bunch of different types of yellow. And you're always gonna end up with colors that you're not gonna use. So not a huge fan of the sampler pack, but it does give you a lot of colors to use. So if you're looking for those larger formats, you're gonna need to go to another brand. Again, I'm going to link a few of those in the blog post for this video. So go ahead and click the blog post link below. I do think that as this machine becomes more popular, as more people get it, I'm hoping that other manufacturers will start making larger format cardstock that we can use in this machine to make even bigger projects. One of the questions I got a lot is, can you cut small pieces? So yes, you can cut small pieces. So I took a scrap of cardstock that I had, it was about 4 by 4, and I cut this little butterfly. You can do that, and it cuts really fast, and it cut really well. However, if I'm cutting something like this, I am definitely gonna be reaching for one of my smaller Cricut machines, only because this is quite a bit to set up, right? You gotta get the giant mat out, you gotta get the paper. If you have another smaller Cricut, you may wanna try that first, because it just seems sort of silly. It seems too big of a machine to make something of this size. That being said, if this is your only Cricut machine, you are not limited to the minimum size that something can be. You can still cut, nice little small projects on it. The next most common question I get is about intricate cuts. Now, I wouldn't say that I'm like an expert in intricate cuts for cardstock. It's not something I do a lot of, but I gave it a shot. So I cut 2 of this very delicate moon image out of cardstock. This is by far the most delicate thing that I've ever cut, and it was very difficult to get off the mat, but I did it. I cut it using the intricate cut setting, which you can see it cut absolutely beautifully. There are, no imperfections, none of this ripped, nothing. But then I cut it on the regular cardstock setting, and it's exactly the same. which is great because the intricate cardstock setting is basically, it sort of half cuts and then double cuts. So it's quite quite a bit slower. I think I cut this in 3 minutes and 37 seconds, whereas when I just used the regular cardstock setting and it only did 1 pass, it was 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So you can get just as accurate results without having to use that intricate cardstock setting. That being said, you'll want to work with your own image. You know, if you're finding that it's sort of tearing or it's not doing a great job, or you have a different type of paper and it's just not doing a great job, you may want to try that intricate cut setting. You can use it. But for this image, it worked just fine using that regular cardstock setting. Another question I've gotten is whether or not you can score using Cricut Venture. So yes, you can. I just use your regular scoring stylus. It doesn't work with the scoring wheels because it doesn't have the geared carriage, so it can't use any of the Cricut Maker tools, but you can stick a scoring stylus in there and create fun projects. So this is a file I have on my blog. I will go ahead and link to it so you can grab it for free. But you can make these like really giant paper stars. All of these points were scored, so I was able to make this project. This is Cricut cardstock. It cut and scored really nicely, and I was able to make this fun paper star. The next question I get a lot is, can you foil? And yes, you can. So I didn't know what to expect. This machine moves almost frantically fast, and I was just having these sort of nightmares of that all of the foil being just torn up as it went to foil the project. But it went really slowly. There's something about that foil setting that it just slowed everything down, and it took quite a while. It did 3 passes on every foiled piece, but it created this foiled project. Make sure your edges are taped down really well, and just know that it is going to take you more time than other Venture projects because it slows it way down. I think they understood that that foil would just get torn up if it was moving at the speed in which it normally moves. But yeah, it foiled really nicely. I feel like this is actually almost better than my Cricut and my Explorer. Like the lines are really thick and sharp, and I don't know, I think it looks really good. One of my favorite features is these giant pens. So you can use any of the regular Cricut Explorer or Maker markers or pens inside Cricut Venture, but they also have these giant markers, which I just love watching this thing draw. It's really fun. So I made this giant yard sale sign. If you wanted in Cricut Design Space, obviously you could put your address and other details about your yard sale or whatever you're doing, but it draws it so well using these really thick markers. This was a piece of poster board I got in that same pack with the green. It's really flimsy, but I think you could put like higher quality poster board on there and it would draw on there just fine. And then I got the question, can you cut different pieces of cardstock on the same mat at the same time? And yes, you can. I decided to make all of these little bees. They turned out so cute, right? Like all these little guys. There's 18 of them here. And basically what I did was I divided my mat into quadrants. The top left, I think, was blue, and then yellow, and then 2 black on the bottom. And then in Cricut Design Space, I changed every layer to be the same color, so I changed them all to black. And then in the prepare screen, I moved all of the yellow pieces to where the yellow piece of cardstock was, and I moved all the blue pieces to where the blue piece of cardstock was, and I kept the black pieces at the bottom. And because of that, I was able to basically cut all of these images in one go. It was really quick, way faster than having to prepare all the different mats for maybe my Cricut Explorer, my Cricut Maker. Everything was cut in one go, and I was able to make all of these bees really quickly. So if only we could get a machine that could like assemble all of these for me instead of sitting watching Netflix last night assembling them all. But the Cricut Venture can cut multiple pieces of cardstock at the same time, which can really speed up your projects if you're making something similar to these bees. One more thing I'd like to mention before I wrap up this video is that I found the Light Grip mat to be the best mat for cutting both cardstock and poster board. I used the regular grip mat, standard grip mat. I used the standard grip mat for cutting the green dinosaur, and he stuck pretty good to that mat, and it was just like too much stickiness. So even though I sort of primed my mat, I got a little bit of lint on there, it was still too much. So for all the projects minus that dinosaur, I used the blue mat, and it worked really well. And there you have it. That's basically everything you need to know about cutting cardstock on Cricut Venture. If you have any questions about cutting cardstock that I didn't manage to hit in this video, please go ahead and leave a comment. If you found this video helpful, I would love a like. Subscribe to this channel for more weekly content. I'll see you next week.